Hi guys, this is Patsy Githinji and it is the first episode. Finally, the day is here. Finally, it's happening and I have been gone. Life has been happening. Life has changed and I feel like I am ready to talk. And before we start, as we moisturize our hands, kindly head over to the subscribe button and click it kindly. Yeah, please welcome me back in style. Yes, I am really back. Like I said, life has really changed. Um, and I'm excited. Yeah, I am excited. I have been through highs, lows, but above all, I am grateful. I'm very grateful, really. So let's just get right into it, hoping that you have definitely subscribed, because why not? Where have I been? Huh. So most of you, as I am guessing, are actually from my TikTok audience. And so yes, I have been very consistent on TikTok. And one thing people don't know is mostly we don't actually shoot in real time. Yeah, mostly we don't shoot in real time. And that is what has actually been helping me like through everything. When you feel like the world is breaking apart, you're still able to continue your practice because it's something that matters to you. It is something that is close to your heart. And yeah, you don't want it becoming a victim of your circumstances, if I can say. So I have been around. I have been interacting with some of you on TikTok. Um, I recently announced, I'm saying recently because it is just like 4 months. I'm shooting this on Saturday. So like yesterday was my baby's fourth month celebration. And so yes, people did not see it coming. There is no one that anticipated like that was going to happen, unless I am the person that told you. I am going to say, even those who are saying, oh Patsy, we sort of, you did not figure it out. You actually did not figure it out, and it was for a reason. It is not because my baby is a secret. It is not because I had the intention of hiding my baby. It is just because of the space that I felt like we were in at that particular time. And so definitely certain decisions had to be made, and for decisions to be made, definitely you need to soul search and self-deliberate. And this is why, for example, when she was born, I posted a photo of her feet and her, it was actually a full photo, but then like I blurred out the face. I posted on TikTok, and then I realized that apparently TikTok, with certain phones, they allow you to remove the emojis. And then another lady also made she's a very creepy remark, and I was just like, I think it's actually not the right decision, and I brought the photo down. So yes, so long story short, kwa hayo machache kama kwa hayo mengi, um I am a new parent. And that is not just what happened. So the last time I was actually doing the podcast episodes, I had a job. And then some few days before we actually knew that we were expecting, um, the contract was indefinitely terminated. Yes. So you have this situation here, because pregnancy is literally a situation, and you all are supposed to figure out what is happening, and then just before that, job. And so when I say life changed and life has been happening, this is what I am talking about. And I'm very glad that, above all, this didn't break me. Yeah, this didn't break me. And baby Imani came into the world, and it was nothing short of my expectations. We were able to give her the best at the moment. We still are able to give her the best, I believe, until now. And it didn't really fuck us mentally. Oops, I'm already cussing in the first 5 minutes. Sorry. And so after that, we now got into the business of trying to figure out the logistics around antenatal, what delivery would look like, what hospitals we would choose, hospital hunting. We are a trans couple, so at the end of the day, we also needed to figure out what hospital really affirmed us, or at least respected who we were. And such are the details we are going to unpack in another video. And so basically that is what I have been doing. Yeah, this is more of an introduction video, by the way. So yeah, Tulia, we are not starting to cry and everything. So that is what has been happening. I also started doing business. By the way, I almost forgot. I started doing business. That was in April. It was like immediately, before I lose my job, I was just planning that, I can make something. It is like sort of the universe tries to warn you, and then you think maybe it's your own instincts. Kumbe. Kumbe the universe is communicating that kitakuramba. But anyway, yes. And I would want to say it was a failed attempt, because actually I really loved it. And it is not until Imani came that I was just like, oh, it's a little bit overwhelming. And so I had to sort of put that aside for a while. And so that is something we are actually going to revisit. So yes, I also tried business, and of course I was doing advocacy for like the longest time, and that is what I have always been doing. But I feel like last year was the year when I really did advocacy and collaborated with like different you know organizations, civil rights organizations, and it was a good encounter. And at this particular time, by now, April, I am sort of trying to learn the balance. I am trying to learn the balance between, my practice as a content creator, between being a parent, between being a friend, like all those things. Just trying to sort of make sure none of them is suffering courtesy of the other, to just like strike a very reasonable, not perfect, reasonable balance. The next one is what changed me. What changed me in terms of perspective, priorities, softness, and strength. First things first is about strength. I feel like strength is quite political, and I love to distance myself from strength. And I feel like this is because I have been the strongest soldier for such a long time, especially being a gender diverse person, a trans woman. And the days when I was like in a shelter, the days when I was struggling with homelessness, the days when I was struggling to even get meals, I feel like those are the days when I can say I was relying on strength. Right now, I am really trying to lean towards softness, hence my new initiative, the Radical Resting Space, which is literally just about taking the concept of rest, political as it is, and just owning up to the fact that you choosing to rest does not mean you're lazy. You've probably been working and surviving for too long, and you just need a breather, which is not a bad thing. Yeah, which is not a bad thing. And so yes, I am very much leaning towards the softness. Even when everything is falling aside, I'm just like, you know what? We cry and we move on. In fact, when I lost my job, I was telling people, I only cried yo siku. And remember, I haven't even figured out that we are expecting. We have not figured out that we are expecting, but I was just like, you know what? at the end of the day, there are also other parts of life that need to move on. And I need to figure out, because at the end of the day, nikilia, sitaekea landlord machozi nimwambie ndio hii tumbler ya machozi chukua ukunywe. No, you will have to know how to like get the fuck up and get stuff moving. And that is what happened. And I'm very, very glad that that is the space I am in at this particular time. And I feel really honored. I feel really honored. The growth is immense. It is noticeable. It is noticeable. Like, even the people around me like have acknowledged that. The people who see me are just like, you've really like grown. And it's upwards, by the way. It's upwards. It's not like a degrading kind of affair. So what has changed in terms of perspectives and priorities? So I feel like when perspectives shift, priorities also change. And so the first thing is I feel like it's very easy to move from a space of lack and go to the extreme side of operating within abundance. So while I am operating around within the confines of abundance, I am also very aware. I don't know if this is a trauma response, but I'm very much aware that things do fall apart. And this is not me being paranoid. It is me being very watchful and like just being cautious. Especially now that I have a direct dependent, a primary dependent who is literally relying on me, my provision, my emotional sobriety, like just my stability, you know, my stability as a person is what is pouring into her own cup, which is by 4 months, it's still empty. Yeah, it's still empty. And so I feel like perspectives have really changed, and some things I didn't even struggle like changing them. Something like being sober. Right now it's 1 year plus, and this is not even anything I started because we were expecting her. It is just something that happened. It happened that I lost certain friendships. I disengaged from certain persons, and immediately I feel like life really changed and my perspectives really changed. And for example, the most of course now about the journey of being sober, that is something we will talk about in a different video. But what I would the question that really stood up for me is, why was I even doing it? Yeah, what fulfillment did it bring to me? And after soul searching and self deliberating, I feel like I didn't have an answer. I didn't have an answer, and that was enough enough a reason. Yeah, because I realized I was such a social drinker, and when I'm alone, that is not something I was doing. It was not even something that I felt like was bringing me joy. The only thing I was coming back to is some deductions in number on my account, and that is not necessarily very cute because it's not even something tangible. And so yeah, perspective, the next perspective is about the unpredictability of life, and not just towards the negative but also towards the positive. Because when I lost my job, and this is what most people usually expect, you start panicking and you start wondering, oh my God, how am I going to survive? How am I going to make it through this life? How am I going to be able to provide for myself? And while that was a worry, 1 year, 1 month later, here I am. Did I die? No. Life did not end when I lost my job. I was able to figure out stuff. I was able to even like invest in something like a business. I was able to I feel like this is now the perfect timing, because I feel like this is the time when brands, organizations started trusting me and started to trust me to execute certain roles in their establishments, and things just happened, really. And things just happen. So I'm not here to say live dangerously because the universe is going to provide. But at the end of the day, at times you have no option. At times you have no option. And sometimes there are many things that you don't have control over. And such is life. And such is life. And the next thing, the change of perspective, the next thing that really changed my perspective is the fact that I used to pray constantly that I need a job, I need a stable job. And it is because I used to tie provision to jobs. And then something changed. And this is because like I have been unemployed all through. I mean, like permanently employed. And I started sort of commanding, commanding the universe and commanding my surrounding to just make sure that I am provided for and provided for to my feel. Yeah. And so whatever that looks like, if it's a job, if it's an endorsement, if it's anything, if it's a grant even, because who doesn't like grants, yeah? And so that is the next thing that really, really shifted my perspective. In terms of priorities, I feel like it's obvious when you become a new parent. I feel like the priority now shifts and it's now mostly my family and narrowing down to my baby. And so far, she is my primary she's my primary priority, and then of course now everything else comes after. So yeah, definitely, like the baby was not there, and so that is like, it's almost like a black and white kind of change in priority. So the next question is, why YouTube? um I think I announced officially on TikTok that I was going to resume YouTube. So, most of you might not know, but it actually takes a lot of work, a lot of resources to put out content on YouTube. And I was not spared. So, it happens that the How to Woman episodes that I earlier, the project that I did earlier, it's on the YouTube, by the way, you can also go back and watch. It was sponsored, and it probably cost me an arm and a leg, maybe both legs. And so while it looked like it was sustainable, I then realized I had a lot to take care of financially, because I didn't also mention this. I had also started the hormonal replacement therapy, of course, and I was doing other things. And so to add the YouTube production on top of that, it sort of became, finances sort of became a hindrance. And so I used this for the longest time as the reason why I was not creating content. And then someone challenged me and they were just like, Patsy, you have a decent phone, and the talent doesn't reduce because you don't have all the, the lightings, the different kind of mics, the expensive equipment. And I was just like, you have a point. But of course, it was 1 year later. And so here we are. So I decided to start from where I am. I don't say I'm starting small. I am starting from where I am positioned at the moment. And the next thing is also because I mostly use TikTok as it's a platform I really love, and I feel like this is uko ndio nilikubalika, which directly translates to that is where I was able to niche very quickly. And and so we all know TikTok only allows a maximum of 10 minutes, and TikTok also has quite a number of rules, which also puts the work I do at it's almost like it's a place of sensitivity. I have gotten so many videos being flagged down, and The reason is apparently I am using very strong feminist language. And so I needed an app that, one, was more flexible, and two, I also needed an app that supported longer versions of content, because I feel like this is where my content incline towards. And so yeah, YouTube it is. And also we all know TikTok doesn't pay like African creators, and so that was the other reason, really, that was the other reason, because you get hundreds of thousands of likes but nothing to show for it. Maybe brands coming to you and paying you directly, which is also, it's it's not as consistent as it's supposed to be. And so this is one of the many reasons. The next one, what's coming next? Interesting. A lot is coming next. People have been asking, oh, content creators, I know everyone laughs and says no one has been asking. Well, people have been asking if I can do cooking vlogs, and I do quite a good job while at it. Those who have seen me, those who have tasted my meals, they know that. And so yes, um, I also look to a future. I also look towards a future where I can do a podcast in the kitchen, and just give insights here and there, share recipes here and there. So that is coming up next. The next thing is parenting tips, maybe from my own lived experience. The third one is advocacy. This is obvious, yeah. I am passionate about advocating for myself and advocating for women in their diversity and children. And now that I'm a parent, I am sure my perspective again has changed. What is the next thing that I look for? A lot. Story times. Yeah. Story times that I had promised. So we are also looking forward to a time where I try to be vulnerable and maybe share story times here and there from my own lived experiences, or even y'all can tell me if you'd want me to like start receiving people's stories and telling them. Yeah. And so there is quite a bunch of things that I am looking forward to giving you guys, and I really, really look forward to that. And I know you do. And I know you've subscribed. Thank you. Uh, and is there something else I have left? I don't think so. I don't think so. And so basically, that is what I have been up to. That is what has been happening throughout. And if this feels like a space you would want to be part of, kindly stick around. Stick around. I know you're going to love it. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video widely, comment, leave your insights, tell me what you'd like to see next. Tell me what make constructive criticism. I'm really scared of that, because there's a very thin line between that and people trying to drag you by your edges. And inshallah, we are going to get to higher heights, and we are even going to improve this set further. And yeah. And I want to say that I am still becoming, and I have decided not to hide while at it. And that is how Patsy sees it. Remember to like, subscribe, comment on this video, share widely, share to everyone, your friends, your besties, your kilamto. Bye.